Take a deep breath. Let your eyes grow heavy. And imagine yourself stepping back in time to the 1940s, to a world at war, and to the soft creak of leather boots on barracks floors. You are not yet a soldier, just a name on a draft card, a young man in a stiff wool uniform waiting to begin something you do not yet understand. This is not a story of battles. It is a story of quiet strength, long marches, letters from home, and whispered prayers in the dark. Could you survive as an American soldier in World War? Let us begin. Slowly, gently, the train rolls steadily through early morning fog. Windows, fog with breath and yesterday's rain, your forehead resting gently against the cool glass as the landscape slides by in shades of green and brown dot. You are dressed in your brand new uniform, woolen, slightly itchy, with boots not yet broken. Your duffel bag rests on your lap, the paper tag still dangling from its handle. U.S. Army Transport, Camp Pickett, Virginia. You have said your goodbyes. Your mother folded a note into your shirt pocket. Your younger brother slipped a silver coin into your hand, muttering, "For luck." You carry both with you. Like breath, like memory. The train slows, its iron wheels groaning. You step off with 20 other young men, all strangers, all quiet, all holding the same silence, like a weight they do not know how to set down. The sky is low and gray. The air smells of pine, mud, and something bitter, disinfectant, perhaps, or oil from the trucks waiting by the gates. A corporal with a clipboard yells instructions, but even he seems half asleep, his words soft around the edges. You follow, duffel over your shoulder, boots sinking slightly into the gravel path that leads toward the barracks. Camp Pickett is not what you imagined. The buildings are plain, the bunks are narrow, everything smells faintly of canvas, metal, and something like steam. You find your assigned cat, third row, second bed from the end. You place your bag gently on top. The mattress is thin. The blanket is army green. The pillow smells faintly of mothballs. This is your new home. No pictures, no familiar sounds, only orders, only uniforms, only routine. You meet your bunkmate, James. He is from Iowa. He speaks softly, chews peppermint gum, and asks you if you know how to fold your blanket the regulation way. You do not, but he shows you. Tight corners, 3 fingers thick, every fold sharp as a salute. You copy him. It is not perfect, but close enough. The sergeant does not yell. He nods once and moves on. Then comes your first march. No rifles yet, just formation, just rhythm, just the crunch of gravel under 30 pairs of boots as you walk through the forest trail beyond the barracks, lined with trees that stand tall and quiet like watchmen. You walk in silence, not because they told you to, but because you do not know what else to say. Every breath comes in puffs of mist. The cold air sharpens your focus. You do not know these men beside you, but you all breathe the same way. You all adjust your straps the same way. You all feel the weight of this moment in the soles of your boots. After an hour, you return. Your legs ache slightly, but you do not complain. You sit on the edge of your bunk, unwrap the lunch they gave you: bread, cheese, an apple. The food is simple, but grounding. You eat in silence, then lie back, your hands behind your head. The barracks ceiling above you, marked with tiny pinholes from the boots of men who trained here before. Later that night, after lights out, you lie still. The sounds of sleep fill the air. Soft breathing, the creak of beds, an occasional cough. You hold your brother's coin between your fingers, and slowly, as your breath evens, you realize you made it through the first day. You marched, you folded your blanket, you remembered your name when they called it out loud. You survived day 1, and tomorrow, you will rise at 050 hours and do it again. Outside, the wind rustles the pine trees. The stars peek through low clouds. The camp is still. And so are you. Sleep now, soldier. The journey has just begun. Would you like to continue into part 2, Inspection Day, where the uniform must be perfect, boots gleaming, and nerves held steady under a sergeant's watchful gaze? The bugle sounds just before dawn, a long, hollow note that cuts softly through sleep like a breeze through canvas, rousing every man from his bunk with practiced rhythm. You sit up slowly. Your breath is warm in the cold air. Outside, the trees are still dark. The barracks hums with the sounds of laces being tied, blankets folded, boots hitting floorboards. Today is inspection day, and everything must be exact. You rise from your cot and begin with your blanket. Corners squared, edges smooth. You press your palm flat across the fabric, remembering what James showed you yesterday. You fold the edge just right, 3 fingers thick. Next, your uniform. Wool trousers, khaki shirt, stiff and smelling faintly of starch, tucked just so. Brass buttons aligned in a perfect line from collar to belt. You lace your boots tight, wipe the toes once more with the cloth tucked into your footlocker. They do not shine yet, not like the older soldiers' boots, but they are clean, polished as best you could. You line up with the others in the cold hallway. Outside, mist curls around the pine trees and clings to the ground like breath. No one speaks. The sergeant walks down the line, a shadow at first, then boots thudding softly on wooden planks. He stops in front of each man, inspects the fold of the blanket, the gleam of the boot, the position of the hat. When he reaches you, you hold still, shoulders straight, chin high, just like they taught you. He says nothing, just nods and moves on. You exhale slowly. After inspection, you are marched to the mess hall. The air smells of eggs, coffee, and a faint trace of gun oil from the nearby armory. You eat quietly. Scrambled eggs, toast a cup of coffee that tastes like metal and strength. A quiet voice near you mutters, "This is the easy part." You do not ask what comes next. The morning is spent in drills: left face, right face, about face, again and again. The sergeant's voice cuts through the air, but not harshly, just precisely. Your feet begin to remember the rhythm. Your body adjusts to the stance. Your spine straightens, not out of fear, but focus. You begin to move as part of something larger. 50 men, one motion, one sound, one breath. Later, you learn to make your bed to military standard, tighter than you thought possible. The blanket pulled so firm you could bounce a coin on it. You try. It takes you 4 tries. But on the 5th, the coin jumps. Just a little, but enough. In the afternoon, you're issued your gear, a heavy pack, a helmet, a canteen, a belt. You hold the helmet in both hands. It feels real. More than a uniform, more than marching. This is what soldiers wear when the marching ends. The sun begins to set. Shadows stretch across the barracks floor. The trees beyond the camp are bathed in amber light. You sit on your cot, cleaning the metal buckle on your belt, a soft cloth in one hand, your brother's coin in the other. James sits beside you, quietly tying a new pair of laces into his boots. You do not speak. You do not need to. Tomorrow will bring more drills, more inspections, and soon, a rifle in your hands. But tonight, you rest. The lights go out. The camp grows quiet. You lie on your back, staring at the ceiling. You made it through inspection. Your boots passed. Your blanket held. Your hands did not shake. You are still here. Still standing. Still learning. And tomorrow, you will march again. But for now, you sleep. Asterisk. The morning arrives before you are ready. A low trumpet call. Not loud, but clear, threading through the half-darkness like a reminder. This is not just a dream. This is duty. You rise slowly. Stretch your arms. Pull on your uniform, button by button, belt fastened with care. Today is the day you are issued your rifle. Your first real weight. Not cloth, not boots, not blanket folds or silver coins. Steel. The armory smells like gun oil and damp wood. Rows of racks line the walls, each holding rows of identical rifles. M1 Garands, their barrels dark, their stocks clean and gleaming. You step forward when your name is called. The sergeant holds out a weapon. You take it gently, as if it is sacred, and in a way, it is. It feels heavier than you expected, nearly 10 pounds. Your arms adjust. You shift it from shoulder to hand, letting the grip settle against your palm. As you fall in line with the others, outside, in the pale daylight, you stand in formation. The wind presses softly against your face. The sergeant speaks. This is not a toy. It is not a trophy. It is an extension of your discipline. Respect it. You nod, though he is not looking at you directly. You all do. Training begins slowly. First, how to stand. Then how to carry. Over the shoulder. Across the chest, at ease. Ready. Then disassembly, piece by piece. Each soldier, seated cross-legged in the grass. Rifle before him like a puzzle. You remove the clip. Slide out the bolt. Examine the chamber. Wipe each part clean. Then reassemble. It takes you 3 tries, but on the 4th, it locks together with a quiet, satisfying click. You practice loading dummy rounds. Your fingers fumble at first. The clip springs forward with surprising force. The brass catches the light. You hear the unmistakable ping when the clip ejects. You do it again, and again, and again, until your hands know the rhythm, like a dance. By afternoon, you move to the field. Targets set at 50 yards, then 100. The wind has picked up, but the sky is clear. You lie on your stomach, elbows pressed into the dirt, your breath steady. The instructor kneels beside you. Do not think about hitting the target. Think about breathing. You inhale, hold, exhale slowly and gently. You squeeze the trigger. The sound is sharp, but the world does not shatter. It narrows. You do not hit the center, but you hit paper, and that is enough. You clean your rifle before dinner. Slide the rod down the barrel. Wipe the stock. Check the chamber. Oil the parts. James watches. He is faster than you, but he nods, approving. First days, always rough, he says. You'll be dreaming in click safety fire in no time. You smile faintly. Your palms are sore. Your shoulder aches slightly. But you are learning. That night, you lie in your bunk, arms behind your head. The scent of gun oil faint in the sleeves of your shirt. Outside, the wind rustles, the canvas tent flaps. Somewhere, a fox barks in the woods. You hold your brother's coin again. Place it under your pillow. Close your eyes and listen to your breath. You held a rifle today, learned its name, its balance, its voice. You learned to move with it, not as a weapon, but as a responsibility. And tomorrow, you will return to the field and fire again. But for now, you rest. The sun has dipped beyond the pines, leaving only the faintest burn of light streaking across the horizon. Camp settles into quiet. Boots are stowed. Canteens emptied. Letters written beneath the glow of flickering lanterns. The world, for a moment, feels hushed. But for you tonight brings your first night watch. You are assigned the 020-0204-00 shift. The quietest hours. The coldest. The LONELIEST. James pats your shoulder as he climbs into his bunk. Keep your eyes open, he mutters, and your thoughts slow. You nod, even if your heart is not sure what that means yet. At 0155, you rise. You lace your boots slowly, button your overcoat, slip your helmet into place, grab your rifle, and step out into the night. The air is crisp, almost sharp. The stars above you are impossibly clear, like pinpricks in deep velvet. A low fog snakes between the trees, curling around the lampposts and mess hall steps. You report to the corporal. He nods, signs you in, and points you toward your post. East perimeter. Watch the tree line. Call out anything unusual. You walk alone now. The gravel crunches beneath your boots. You can hear the distant whir of a generator, and farther still, the rhythmic hoot of an owl. Your assigned watch spot is near the water tower. From here, you can see the outer fence, the distant glow of the mess tent, and the edge of the forest. You lean your rifle against your shoulder, pull your coat tighter, and begin your 2-hour vigil. The minutes pass slowly, as they do when one is cold and alone and unsure. But gradually, you settle into the stillness. You begin to hear things, not frightening things, but quiet ones. The wind tugging gently at a canvas flap. The click of a distant boot heel. The hum of your own breath inside your helmet. You imagine what it would be like, somewhere far across the sea, to be guarding a real outpost. Not training, but deployed. Would the silence feel different? Would it be heavier? You do not know yet, but here, under stars, with rifle in hand,
when I was 20,
you
I did
begin to
something
understand
crazy.
something.
I joined the
Stillness
army.
is a form
and
of
when I
strength.
got to boot
A
camp,
shadow
one of my
moves near the
bunkmates,
fence.
his
You
name was
freeze,
James.
but
He
it
was
is
from
only
Iowa,
a fox.
and he spoke
Its
very
coat
softly,
silver
but
in
he
the
chewed
moonlight.
peppermint gum.
It
And he
steps
looked at me
careful,
one
but
day while we were
unafraid.
folding our
It
blankets, and he
pauses,
said,
meets your
"You know how to
gaze,
fold your
then
blanket the
trots
regulation
silently
way?"
into
And
the
I
brush.
didn't.
You smile
So he
without
showed
meaning
me.
to,
And it
and
went
let
like
your
this.
shoulders drop.
You want tight
Just a little
corners,
dot
three
at
finger stick,
0340.
every
Your
fold
fingers are
sharp
stiff.
as a
Your
salute.
feet ache.
And I copied
Your
him.
eyes blur.
It wasn't
But you
perfect,
remain
but it was
alert,
close enough
because
that the
this
sergeant
quiet
didn't yell
hour,
at us.
when
He
others
just
sleep,
nodded
is
once
yours.
and moved
No one
on.
sees
And then
you.
came our
No one
first march.
applauds.
We
But you are
weren't
present.
carrying
You
rifles
are
yet.
dependable.
It was just
And in
formation.
war, those
Just
qualities matter
real-
more than
just
medals.
the crunch of
At
gravel under
0400,
30
your
pairs of
replacement
boots
arrives.
as we walked in a
He
single
nods.
file
You
line
nod
through the
back.
forest trail that
No
ran
words
beyond
needed.
the barracks.
You
On
return
either
to the
side of
barracks.
us, the
Peel
trees
off your
stood
gear
tall and
and crawl
quiet
under
like
your blanket.
watchmen.
It is
Their
still
leaves
warm
just
from
beginning
before.
to turn with the
You
coming
close
of
your
fall.
eyes. The
We walked
fox's
in
eyes
silence,
linger in
not
your
because
thoughts,
they told us to,
as do
but
the
because we didn't know
stars.
what else to
In your
say.
own quiet
Every
resolve.
breath came in
You
puffs
kept
of
watch
mist.
tonight.
The cold
You
air
stayed
sharpening
awake.
our
You
focus
stayed ready.
so that we could
And
see
now,
the next
you may
man in
rest.
line. We couldn't
Asterisk,
see
the
the
sky
end
is
of the
pale
line,
with morning.
but we could
Dew
see the
clings
man
to
in
the
front of
steps
us.
of the barracks.
We were 80,
Boots
19,
thump
20
gently
years
as
old.
soldiers
and we had
rise,
traded
rub
our
sleep
comfortable
from their
lives
eyes,
for this.
and begin another
For
day
what?
in camp.
For
Pick its
some of
quiet
us,
rhythm. But
maybe
today
glory.
feels different.
For others,
There is
maybe
a
just to
quiet
get out of
buzz,
town.
a subtle
For
energy,
some,
passing
maybe to
from bunk
prove
to
to our
bunk,
parents
from mess
that we
line
were
to
more
mailroom.
than the
Today
disappointments
is mail
they
call.
thought we
It
were.
begins
And for
after
some,
breakfast.
maybe just
The
to get
company
away from
lines
the
up
ghosts
outside
that were
the admin
always
building.
at your heels.
Helmets
For
tilted
me,
back,
it was to escape
hands
the
in
whispers
pockets.
that had followed me
Nervous
around
smiles
since I was
exchanged.
small.
You have
He's
not
too
received the
slow.
letter yet,
He's too
but you
dumb.
wrote two.
He's got
One
anger
to your
issues.
mother,
He's going to end
one
up in
to your
jail.
brother.
Or
You
worse,
are not sure
end
if
up
they
dead.
arrived,
I didn't
but
want to hear
today
those
you
whispers
wait
anymore.
anyway.
So
A corporal stands
I
before the group,
enlisted. We
clipboard
turned
in
onto a
hand,
clearing
calling
and
out
came to a
names
halt.
with a quiet
drill
authority.
sergeant asked us
Bennett,
why we had
Cruz,
stopped.
Because I
Edwards.
told you
Each
to,
name
came
answered
the
with
reply.
a soft
I don't
hear,
care whose
followed
orders
by
you
the
have.
shuffle of feet,
You will
the
not
crackle
move
of
from
an
this
envelope,
position
a quick
until I
glance
tell
at the
you
return
to move.
address,
Is
and
that
then
understood?
a small,
Yes,
private
sir.
smile.
We said in
When he
unison.
says, "Reynolds,"
Good.
you lift
Then
your
move.
hand.
And we
He
did.
hands you an envelope
We
plain,
fell into step
cream-colored,
beside men we
creased
didn't
at the
know.
corners,
Shoulder
smelling
to shoulder,
faintly of
arm
lilac
in
and
arm.
paper
Our
dust.
boots kicking
The
up
return
puffs of
address
gravel.
reads,
Our breath
L.
forming
Reynolds,
white clouds in the
Philadelphia,
crisp air. We
PA.
moved
Got
out
your
again,
mother.
back
You sit
into
on a
the
wooden
trees,
bench
following
near the training
path that
field.
led away
The
from
sunlight
barracks,
is warm.
away
Your
from
boots
everything
tap
familiar.
quietly
We
on the
didn't
dirt
speak.
dot.
We didn't
You
need
open the letter
to.
slowly.
There was no
The paper
awkward
rustles
silence
gently,
between
like
us.
soft
No need
leaves
to
in
fill
an
the
autumn
space
breeze.
between one
The
man and the
ink is
next with
smooth.
words.
The
We were
handwriting
making
careful.
a statement without
Your mother
saying a
writes,
word.
"My darling
we were
boy,
showing the
I hope this
world
finds
that we
you well."
belonged
The
here,
neighbor's
that
dog
we
had
were
puppies
stronger
against
than we
7
had
this
ever
time.
been before.
Your brother is helping
that
at the
this was
store
our
after
new
school,
life now.
but he still refuses
we
to
were
shine his
soldiers.
shoes unless I
Every day
ask
that
twice.
winter we
We
rose
miss you.
before the
I
sun
put your
and
picture on the
trained until
mantle.
the snow
The
fell
garden is
and the
blooming
ice
earlier
froze.
than
The
expected.
sweat on
The
our
marigolds
skin.
are
We
already
ran
open.
until our lungs
Please keep your
burned.
hands warm
And our
and
legs
don't skip
screamed
breakfast.
for mercy.
All my
we
love,
marched until
Mom,
our feet
you read
were
it twice,
blistered and raw.
maybe 3
we
times.
slept in the
Not because it
barracks,
is long,
30 men
but because
to a
it feels
room.
like being
Each
home
of us
again
trying to
for a
find a
moment.
place to make
James
our
sits
own
beside
in the
you.
vast
He received a
emptiness
letter,
of our
too,
souls.
from his older
On
sister.
nights like
He
this,
does not
when the
say
wind
much,
howled
but his
outside
eyes
and
are
the snow
softer
swirled
today.
in
You
angry
fold your
eddies, we
letter
would huddle
carefully,
together
tuck
for
it into
warmth,
your breast
sharing
pocket.
stories
You feel its
and
presence
jokes
there,
and
like a second
dreams of the
heartbeat.
places
It
we
stays
would
with
go
you
and the
through
things
rifle
we would
drills,
see.
through
In the
chow,
darkness of
through
that
the
room,
afternoon hike.
we
Later,
became brothers,
when the sun begins to
bound
set
together
and you
by a
lie on
shared
your bunk once
experience
more.
a
You pull the
common
letter out
purpose,
again.
and a love for
trace the
our
ink with your
country that
finger.
ran deeper
You
than the
imagine the
blood that
marigolds
coursed through our
blooming
veins.
bright
Because
orange,
sometimes
fluttering
the
in the
hardest
breeze
thing
you
you
can
will
almost
ever
smell.
do
You
is
picture
to
your
walk
brother
through that
grumbling
door
about
and
his
leave
shoes.
everything
You
you
imagine the
have
warmth
ever
of the
known
kitchen,
behind.
the sound
But
of
when
a
you
screen
come out
door
the other
creaking
side,
open,
you'll
and
be
the
someone
familiar
new,
rhythm of home.
forged in
You
the
are not
fires of
there,
adversity,
but for a few
tempered by
minutes,
the
you
blows
feel
of
held
fate,
by
and
it,
stronger
and that
because of
is
it.
enough.
And you'll carry
Sleep
that
comes
strength in
easier
you
tonight,
for the rest
softer,
of your life.
warmed by words from across the miles, cradled by memories and the quiet joy of being remembered. You dream of marigolds and peppermint candy and soft kitchen light. You are still here, still learning, still breathing. And tomorrow, you will rise again. But tonight, you rest. The morning sun creeps slowly across the campgrounds. casting long shadows through the pine trees, while boots echo on the dirt path toward the combat training field. Today, your rifle will not just be carried. Today, it will be held close. Not for firing, but for fighting. Today is bayonet training. You are issued a long, narrow blade, a bayonet forged from steel. Light but firm, made to attach to the end of your rifle with a clean click. You are shown how to hold it, how to thrust, how to parry. But before the blade touches the dummy, you are told something else. It is not about rage, the sergeant says. It is about control. Calm, focus. You must fight without letting your mind unravel. You nod, your heart steady, but alert. The training dummies stand in the open field, stuffed sacks shaped into crude torsos, mounted on wooden poles. You line up beside James, bayonet fixed to your rifle, your breath even, your grip sure. At the command, you step forward, thrust. The blade drives into the target. You feel the resistance, hear the crunch of burlap. Then, withdraw, reset, step back. You repeat the motion again and again until your arms ache, until your stance becomes muscle memory. The sun rises higher, sweat beads on your brow, your knuckles sting, your shoulders burn. But there is something else, a clarity, a focus that deepens with each movement. You are not frantic, you are deliberate. There is strength in quiet repetition. After drills, you are split into pairs to practice technique. You face James. Your blades are blunted, your movements controlled. Thrust, parry, block, counter. It is like a dance, not elegant, but full of rhythm. You begin to move in sync, not as opponents, but as partners learning a silent language. Later, you sit in the shade of a tent, wiping your brow with a cloth, your bayonet laid across your knees. You do not fear it. You respect it. The sergeant approaches. He says nothing, just nods, then moves on. That nod stays with you. That evening, your arms are sore. Your hands are tired. But when you lie in your bunk, you feel calm. Not from the training itself, but from knowing that your body can learn and adapt and hold fast even under pressure. Sleep takes you slowly, and as your breath deepens, you see again the blur of the practice field, the stance of your partner, the glint of metal and sun. You have taken another step. One more part of the soldier's path now belongs to you, and tomorrow there will be more to learn. But tonight, you rest. The air is cool and damp, mist curling over the grass like breath, dew clinging to your boots as you line up beside your company under the faintest glow of dawn. Today, you hike, not just a few paces across the field. Today, it is 20 miles, uphill, through woods, through stillness, through challenge. It is not about speed. It is about endurance. You breathe in slowly and step forward. Your pack is heavier than usual. A full canteen, extra rations, your helmet, rifle, and a spare pair of socks tucked deep in the bottom. The weight presses into your shoulders, settling into the base of your spine. You find a rhythm in your steps, left, right, left, crunching softly over gravel and pine needles. Boots move as one, 50 soldiers walking together, but each lost in his own thoughts. The first hill rises like a quiet test. You lean into the slope, shoulders forward, letting your breath guide your legs. You remember what James told you. It's not your body that gives up first, it's your mind. You do not rush, you do not pause. You just continue. One boot after another. The trees grow thicker. A canopy of green closes in, casting soft shade on the path ahead. Birdsong drifts overhead. Somewhere, a woodpecker knocks rhythmically on bark, and underfoot, roots reach across the trail, like memory, twisting gently through the earth. You feel the ache begin to rise in your thighs, then your back, then your feet. But you keep going, because the man in front of you does. And the man behind you depends on it. After 2 hours, the company pauses. Canteens are cool water trickles over dry lips. You remove your helmet, run a hand through your hair, and feel the wind lift gently through the trees. No one speaks much, but the silence is not empty. It is filled with focus, with effort, with quiet respect for the road still ahead. You resume. The march. The sun has risen higher now. The heat grows, but the pace remains steady. You pass a small stream. Clear water runs over round stones, and for a moment, you imagine lying beside it, boots off, cool water soaking your socks. But there is no time for rest, so you carry the image in your mind like a gentle promise. By mile 15, your breath is harder, your steps less even, but something new emerges, a second wind, born not of muscle, but resolve. You think of your brother, of your mother's letter, of the marigolds in bloom, of the coin under your pillow, and somehow, your boots keep moving. At the 20th mile, the line halts. You exhale slowly, shoulders sagging. You lower your pack to the grass. It is done. You sit under a sycamore, the bark smooth against your back, and feel the sun warm your face. James drops beside you, grinning through exhaustion. Told you it was the mind, he says. You nod, because now you understand. That evening, your legs ache, your hands tremble slightly as you lift your tin cup of coffee. But the barracks are quieter tonight, not from fatigue, from pride. You hiked 20 miles, and you came back. You made it, you endured, and now you sleep. The wind carries a different scent today. Smoke from distant drills, fresh oil on weapons, the musky warmth of earth, turned by boot and shovel. This is the start of final training week, a full field simulation, 7 days, no return to barracks, no soft bunks or hot meals, only your pack, your rifle, and the instincts you have slowly, quietly been building. Before dawn, you march out of camp, the trail illuminated only by starlight and the soft glow of red flashlights. Your pack feels heavier today, but so do your steps, not from fatigue, from purpose. You move in a unit, not just names on a list, but a team that knows each other's breath, footfall, and silence. The forest opens wide into a makeshift camp. Tents are pitched quickly, perimeters set, watch, schedules posted. Everything is fast, orderly, silent. You are given your station, scout, detail. You will move in pairs to observe, report, and return. James is assigned as your partner. You crawl through thickets, skirt creeks, navigate low over mossy ridges without snapping a single twig. Each sound is amplified in the woods, a branch creaking, a crow in flight, the hush of your breath against a cool morning. You carry a compass, a map, a notepad, and the understanding that even the smallest mistake could, in another setting, cost lives. Your report is clear. The sergeant nods. A red ribbon marks the enemy line on a tree ahead. You pass the test, but the test continues. Later, you practice defensive positioning, digging shallow trenches, camouflaging tents, lying silently for hours as other squads simulate advances through the brush. Rain begins to fall somewhere in the afternoon, soft at first, then steadily, soaking through wool and canvas alike. But no one complains, because this, too, is part of becoming ready. At night, you sleep in short bursts, 3 hours at a time. Boots still on, helmet within reach. You are called up at 0200 for a false alarm drill, a simulated attack. Lights flash, orders are called, and everyone moves as one. There is no real danger, but the adrenaline is real. And afterward, when you lie back down, you do not sleep right away. You think about what it will be like when this is not practiced. By the 5th day, your beard is growing in patches. Your stomach growls. Your eyes sting from lack of sleep, but you feel steady. More soldier than student now. Your body moves without asking. Your hands reload without looking. Your steps are measured. Your voice, calm, clear, confident. On the 6th night, you and James sit beside a dim lantern, sharing a tin of cold beans and quietly humming a song from home. No words, just the comfort of presence. The final test is a 24-hour endurance patrol. You carry everything. You walk 10 miles, set up camp, defend it, break it down, and march back. The test is not in speed, or strength, or bravado. It is in resilience. Quiet, calm, endurance, dot. And when you return, your sergeant meets you with only one sentence. You're ready. You rest at night beneath a tree, your helmet on your chest, the stars spinning slowly overhead. You made it. You completed final week. And soon, you will deploy. Dot. But tonight, you rest, and the earth beneath you feels almost like home. Asterisk, the sky is pale with overcast light. A low breeze stirs the pine branches above the camp, and something new hums through the air, a subtle current of nerves, curiosity, and anticipation. The bulletin board outside the administration building now holds a single sheet of fresh paper, pinned tightly at each corner. Deployment orders. Your name is on it. You stand in line as the company gathers. No one speaks loudly. A few glance toward the list. Others keep their eyes low, as if afraid to read what is already written. You are called forward. Private first class. Orders received. You are shipping out 2 days' time. Report to port of embarkation, New Jersey. Atlantic Theater. There it is, a line drawn between training and war. You fold the papers carefully, place them inside your locker, then sit on the edge of your bunk, your thoughts slow, settling around the weight of those few words. Atlantic Theater. It could mean England, France, North Africa. The exact destination is not on the paper, but the direction is clear, across the ocean, into the unknown. James is being deployed too. Same port, different unit. You walk together that evening, past the edge of the barracks, where the gravel path turns to field, and the breeze carries the scent of smoke and earth. You do not talk much, but you both know what the other is feeling. Not fear, not yet. Something quieter, a kind of stillness, like standing on the edge of a dock, staring out over black water. The next day, you are issued new gear, a thick wool coat, a second pair of gloves, a small waterproof pouch for your letter from home. Your rifle is checked, cleaned, inspected twice. Your boots are resoled, your helmet painted fresh. You sit through briefings on transport protocol, ship conduct, and uniform etiquette while overseas. Each word reminds you that this journey is not hypothetical anymore. At night, you lie in bed, fully dressed, duffel packed beside you. You do not sleep deeply. Your thoughts drift back to the first day, the awkward march, the too loose helmet strap, the uneven blanket fold. And now, you are ready. You feel it in your breath, in the way you lift your gear without strain, in the way you move, not faster, but surer. The morning you leave, the camp is hushed. Soldiers file quietly onto the transport trucks. You sit beside James. Neither of you speaks. The ride is long. Trees pass by like soft brushstrokes, then power lines, then city buildings, and finally, a glimpse of water. The ship is enormous, gray, industrial, looming. It smells of salt, steel, and oil. As you ascend the ramp, you hear the call of gulls, the slap of waves against hull, and the shuffle of boots on metal. You turn, once, just once, to look back at land. Then you face forward and step aboard. Your bunk is narrow, stacked 3 high. The air below deck is warm, filled with murmurs, coughs, the rustle of cards being shuffled. You lie down, helmet on your chest. The ship's engines rumble low, like a heartbeat. The sea waits, and tomorrow, you will be far from home. You made it through training. You received your orders. You boarded the ship, and now, you sail. But tonight, you rest. Let the ship carry you. Let the sea rock you to sleep. You are ready. The air is cool and damp, mist curling over the grass like breath, dew clinging to your boots as you line up beside your company under the faintest glow of dawn. Today, you hike, not just a few paces across the field. Today, it is 20 miles, uphill, through woods, through stillness, through challenge. It is not about speed. It is about endurance. You breathe in slowly and step forward. Your pack is heavier than usual. A full canteen, extra rations, your helmet, rifle, and a spare pair of socks tucked deep in the bottom. The weight presses into your shoulders, settling into the base of your spine. You find a rhythm in your steps, left, right, left, crunching softly over gravel and pine needles. Boots move as one, 50 soldiers walking together, but each lost in his own thoughts. The first hill rises like a quiet test. You lean into the slope, shoulders forward, letting your breath guide your legs. You remember what James told you. It's not your body that gives up first, it's your mind. You do not rush, you do not pause. You just continue. One boot after another dot, the trees grow thicker. A canopy of green closes in, casting soft shade on the path ahead. Birdsong drifts overhead. Somewhere, a woodpecker knocks rhythmically on bark, and underfoot, roots reach across the trail, like memory. Twisting gently through the earth, you feel the ache begin to rise in your thighs, then your back, then your feet. But you keep going, because the man in front of you does. And the man behind you depends on it. After 2 hours, the company pauses. Canteens are cool water trickles over dry lips. You remove your helmet, run a hand through your hair, and feel the wind lift gently through the trees. No one speaks much, but the silence is not empty. It is filled with focus, with effort, with quiet respect for the road still ahead. You resume the march. The sun has risen higher now. The heat grows, but the pace remains steady. You pass a small stream. Clear water runs over round stones, and for a moment, you imagine lying beside it, boots off, cool water soaking your socks. But there is no time for rest, so you carry the image in your mind like a gentle promise. By mile 15, your breath is harder, your steps less even, but something new emerges, a second wind, born not of muscle, but resolve. You think of your brother, of your mother's letter, of the marigolds in bloom, of the coin under your pillow, and somehow, your boots keep moving. At the 20th mile, the line halts. You exhale slowly, shoulders sagging. You lower your pack to the grass. It is done. You sit under a sycamore, the bark smooth against your back, and feel the sun warm your face. James drops beside you, grinning through exhaustion. Told you it was the mind, he says. You nod, because now you understand. That evening, your legs ache, your hands tremble slightly as you lift your tin cup of coffee. But the barracks are quieter tonight, not from fatigue, from pride. You hiked 20 miles, and you came back. You made it, you endured, and now you sleep. The wind carries a different scent today. Smoke from distant drills, fresh oil on weapons, the musky warmth of earth, turned by boot and shovel. This is the start of final training week, a full field simulation, 7 days, no return to barracks, no soft bunks or hot meals, only your pack, your rifle, and the instincts you have slowly, quietly been building. Before dawn, you march out of camp, the trail illuminated only by starlight and the soft glow of red flashlights. Your pack feels heavier today, but so do your steps, not from fatigue, from purpose. You move in a unit, not just names on a list, but a team that knows each other's breath, footfall, and silence. The forest opens wide into a makeshift camp. Tents are pitched quickly, perimeters set, watch, schedules posted. Everything is fast, orderly, silent. You are given your station, scout, detail. You will move in pairs to observe, report, and return. James is assigned as your partner. You crawl through thickets, skirt creeks, navigate low over mossy ridges without snapping a single twig. Each sound is amplified in the woods, a branch creaking, a crow in flight, the hush of your breath against a cool morning. You carry a compass, a map, a notepad, and the understanding that even the smallest mistake could, in another setting, cost lives. Your report is clear. The sergeant nods. A red ribbon marks the enemy line on a tree ahead. You pass the test, but the test continues. Later, you practice defensive positioning, digging shallow trenches, camouflaging tents, lying silently for hours as other squads simulate advances through the brush. Rain begins to fall somewhere in the afternoon, soft at first, then steadily, soaking through wool and canvas alike. But no one complains, because this, too, is part of becoming ready. At night, you sleep in short bursts, 3 hours at a time. Boots still on, helmet within reach. You are called up at 0200 for a false alarm drill, a simulated attack. Lights flash, orders are called, and everyone moves as one. There is no real danger, but the adrenaline is real. And afterward, when you lie back down, you do not sleep right away. You think about what it will be like when this is not practiced. By the 5th day, your beard is growing in patches. Your stomach growls. Your eyes sting from lack of sleep, but you feel steady. More soldier than student now. Your body moves without asking. Your hands reload without looking. Your steps are measured. Your voice, calm, clear, confident. On the 6th night, you and James sit beside a dim lantern, sharing a tin of cold beans and quietly humming a song from home. No words, just the comfort of presence. The final test is a 24-hour endurance patrol. You carry everything. You walk 10 miles, set up camp, defend it, break it down, and march back. The test is not in speed or strength or bravado. It is in resilience, quiet, calm, endurance. And when you return, your sergeant meets you with only one sentence. You're ready. You rest at night beneath a tree, your helmet on your chest, the stars spinning slowly overhead. You made it. You completed final week. And soon, you will deploy. But tonight, you rest, and the earth beneath you feels almost like home. Asterisk, the sky is pale with overcast light. A low breeze stirs the pine branches above the camp, and something new hums through the air, a subtle current of nerves, curiosity, and anticipation. The bulletin board outside the administration building now holds a single sheet of fresh paper, pinned tightly at each corner. Deployment orders. Your name is on it. You stand in line as the company gathers. No one speaks loudly. A few glance toward the list. Others keep their eyes low, as if afraid to read what is already written. You are called forward. Private first class. Orders received. You are shipping out 2 days' time. Report to port of embarkation, New Jersey. Atlantic Theater. There it is, a line drawn between training and war. You fold the papers carefully, place them inside your locker, then sit on the edge of your bunk, your thoughts slow, settling around the weight of those few words. Atlantic Theater. It could mean England, France, North Africa. The exact destination is not on the paper, but the direction is clear. Across the ocean, into the unknown. James is being deployed too. Same port, different unit. You walk together that evening, past the edge of the barracks, where the gravel path turns to field, and the breeze carries the scent of smoke and earth. You do not talk much, but you both know what the other is feeling. Not fear, not yet. Something quieter, a kind of stillness, like standing on the edge of a dock, staring out over black water. The next day, you are issued new gear, a thick wool coat, a second pair of gloves, a small waterproof pouch for your letter from home. Your rifle is checked, cleaned, inspected twice. Your boots are resoled, your helmet painted fresh. You sit through briefings on transport protocol, ship conduct, and uniform etiquette while overseas. Each word reminds you that this journey is not hypothetical anymore. At night, you lie in bed, fully dressed, duffel packed beside you. You do not sleep deeply. Your thoughts drift back to the first day, the awkward march, the too loose helmet strap, the uneven blanket fold. And now, you are ready. You feel it in your breath, in the way you lift your gear without strain, in the way you move, not faster, but surer. The morning you leave, the camp is hushed. Soldiers file quietly onto the transport trucks. You sit beside James. Neither of you speaks. The ride is long. Trees pass by like soft brushstrokes, then power lines, then city buildings, and finally, a glimpse of water. The ship is enormous, gray, industrial, looming. It smells of salt, steel, and oil. As you ascend the ramp, you hear the call of gulls, the slap of waves against hull, and the shuffle of boots on metal. You turn, once, just once, to look back at land. Then you face forward and step aboard. Your bunk is narrow, stacked 3 high. The air below deck is warm, filled with murmurs, coughs, the rustle of cards being shuffled. You lie down, helmet on your chest. The ship's engines rumble low, like a heartbeat. The sea waits, and tomorrow you will be far from home. You made it through training. You received your orders. You boarded the ship, and now you sail. But tonight, you rest. Let the ship carry you. Let the sea rock you to sleep. You are ready. The ship moves slowly through a gray ocean, its hull slicing the water like a quiet giant, steady, unyielding, almost silent dot. Each day at sea begins the same. A soft call over the loudspeaker, the groan of men waking from narrow bunks, and the gentle creak of the ship's body stretching into a new morning outside. Nothing but horizon, gray upon blue, sky upon sea. No birds, no land, just water and time. You pass the hours in routines, morning calisthenics, ship drills, fire safety briefings, lectures on battlefield first aid. But the ocean sets its own pace. It lulls you, slows your thoughts, softens the edges of your focus, until you are moving not with urgency, but with deep intention. At night, you climb above deck when allowed. You lean against the cold railing and stare out into the infinite dark. There are stars again, more than you have ever seen. The sky is full of them, silent, bright. Watching, you think about your mother's letter, the marigolds, your brother's coin. You hold it in your palm sometimes. Let the cool metal center you. You are still you, even here, even now. Somewhere around the fifth day, a storm rolls in. The waves rise, the ship pitches. Men grow quiet. Some are sick, others press their hands against walls, seeking balance, stability. You lie in your bunk, eyes open, listening to the rain hammer, the steel above. The wind howl like something ancient and angry, but inside, you stay still. You breathe in, out, like the ship does, like the sea does. And by morning, the storm has passed. You share stories with the men around you. James tells a tale about his father's general store, how he once traded 2 apple pies for a pair of winter boots. Another soldier, from Mississippi, speaks about fishing on the bayou. Another, from Boston, recites poetry softly to no one. In particular, you listen, not always responding, just listening. There is comfort in shared silence, shared waiting, shared breath. On the 8th night, you dream of land, not home, but a coastline you have never seen, with cliffs like folded arms, villages with tiled roofs, and narrow roads stretching through misty hills. You wake with that image still warm behind your eyes. You are close now. The officers confirm it. 2 days to port, they say, then briefing, then dispersal, then war. But you do not feel fear. Not exactly. You feel presence. A readiness that has been building quietly beneath every march, every drill, every letter read by lantern light. On the 9th day, as the sun sets pink over the water, a thin line appears on the horizon. Land men gather silently along the rails. No one cheers, no one claps, but they see it, and that is enough. That night, you sleep deeply, the hum of the ship now familiar. The feel of your rifle at your side, no longer strange. Your heart beat in rhythm with the waves. You have crossed the Atlantic. And when you wake, you will set foot on foreign soil. But tonight, you rest, and the stars watch over you. Asterisk. The air smells different here, not of pine and wood smoke, but of damp stone, coal fires, and something faintly sweet, perhaps bread, or earth, or time. You step off the ship with your rifle slung over your shoulder, your boots touching stone that has held centuries of war and peace, and footsteps like yours. You have arrived. This is Europe. The port bustles with motion. Trucks roll across cobbled roads. Men unload crates, stack rifles, call out names in clipped British accents. A church bell rings in the distance, its sound haunting and beautiful. You march with your unit, through narrow streets, past brick buildings with shuttered windows, past small children who peek from behind stone walls and wave with cautious smiles. You pass a bakery. The smell of warm bread wraps around your senses like a memory. For a moment, you are back home, in your mother's kitchen, watching steam rise from a fresh loaf. But then the sergeant calls out, and the spell breaks, and your boots move again. You are led to a temporary camp on the edge of a quiet village. White tents flap softly in the breeze. A single road stretches ahead, lined with trees, and at the far end, you see a chapel. Its steeple bent slightly with age. You set down your pack. You unpack your kit. You roll your blanket tightly, like you did back home. But this ground feels different. It holds a history you do not yet understand. That night, the stars look the same, but the wind sounds older. You sit with James on a small stone wall overlooking the hills beyond the village. He unwraps a piece of hard candy he saved from the ship. Feels like we stepped into a storybook, he says. You nod. But this story has no fairy tale ending, only chapters you must now walk through. In the morning, you are given a new map, not a training layout, a real one, marked with troop movements, supply lines, enemy territory. You study the symbols, the winding roads, the contour of the land. You are no longer preparing. You are participating. Villagers pass you with quiet curiosity. A boy offers you an apple. A woman nods in gratitude as your unit helps move crates of food to a central hall. You do not speak their language, but kindness is a kind of translation, and so is presence. That evening, you write your first letter from the field. You tell your mother that you are safe, that the sky is still blue here, that the bread smells sweet and the people kind. You do not tell her how your hands shook when you first stepped onto the foreign road, or how silence, some nights, feels heavier than gunfire. Some truths can wait. As you lie in your tent, the chapel bell tolls again, softly, deeply, as if the village itself is breathing. You close your eyes, and sleep takes you like fog rolling over stone. You have arrived, and the next chapter has quietly begun. Asterisk, the sky is still dark when you are woken, not with shouting, not with sirens, just a gentle nudge from James, and the quiet words. It's time, your first real mission. You dress in silence, layer by layer. Boots, straps, gear, gloves, helmet. Your hands move without hesitation now. You know every buckle, every loop, every rhythm, but your heart still beats faster. You gather with your squad in the church courtyard. The old stones feel cold beneath your feet, the morning dew clinging to your knees as you crouch over the map. The sergeant points to a small bridge, 5 miles from the village. Intel says there may be movement tonight. German scouts. Nothing heavy, just eyes and ears. But if they report back, we could lose this entire region. The objective, secure the bridge. Hold position. Report findings. You nod. The others nod. No one speaks. There is a gravity to this moment that training never quite prepared. U4. You move out at 03008. Soldiers. 2 rifles each. 1 radio. 1 objective. The woods are damp. The path uneven. Moonlight filters through. Bare branches like threads of pale silver. Each step is soft, measured, intentional. Even the night seems to hold its breath. At the edge of the river, you lie prone in the brush. The bridge ahead is small, stone, partially covered in creeping ivy. You hear frogs, a breeze across the water. Your breath, slow and shallow. Then movement. To figures. Barely visible, creeping along the far side. Binoculars confirm it. Enemy. Scouts. They move carefully, checking corners, stopping often. They are not here to fight. They are here to see. You and your team remain hidden, watching, waiting. We do not fire unless engaged. The sergeant whispers, but one of the scouts turns toward the brush, with a hand raised a signal. They know something. The tension shifts. In an instant, you grip your rifle, eyes sharp. Your breath disappears. Everything narrows. A rustle, a crack, a single word spoken too loud, and then they run. Not toward you, away. Back to their lines. The sergeant's voice cuts through. Intercept. Do not let them reach the road. You leap from cover, boots crashing through mud and roots, your rifle raised. The night splitting into chaos. The world becomes sound and motion. A branch whipping across your face. A root catching your boot. Your heart pounding like drums in a parade. You do not fire. You sprint. Faster than you thought possible. James moves ahead of you. Faster still. You see him tackle one of the scouts, rolling through leaves and dirt. The other slips through, but you are close. So close. You raise your rifle, but do not fire. Instead, you lunge. A body collides. The scout tumbles. You pin him. He struggles, but you are stronger now. You hold. You breathe. And then, it is over. The prisoners are searched. Maps found. Notes, in a language you cannot read. But the message is clear. They were watching, and they would have reported. Your team returns with 2 scouts in custody. No shots fired. No men lost. Your first mission, a success. When you return to the village, the church bell rings again. But this time, it feels different, as if it knows what you did and how close it all came to unraveling. You wash your hands in the stream. The water is cold. Your fingers are trembling, but you feel alive. That night, you write another letter. You say nothing of the chase, nothing of the mud, or the tackle, or the burning in your legs. You say instead, today we did our job. The bridge is quiet. The river still flows. And I am still learning what it means to be steady when it matters most. Then you sleep, and you dream of moonlight on ivy-covered stone, and footsteps in the dark that never found their voice. The morning is gray. Not from weather, but from the quiet, a kind of stillness that sits heavy in the trees, in the air, in the soft clink of boots on stone. Something has shifted. The mission board inside the chapel now holds a single black ribbon, tacked beside the daily orders, and when you walk past it, your steps slow, your breath holds. You already know. Before anyone says the name, it happened overnight. A supply route ambush. Routine, they said. A small detachment bringing rations to an outpost. No warning. A single shot from the tree line. Quick, precise. The name on the ribbon is someone you knew. Not closely, but enough. Private Coleman. He shared a tent with James for a week. He traded you half a chocolate bar for a fresh pair of socks. He laughed quietly, wrote poems on ration box scraps. And now, he is gone. The company moves slowly that morning, not from fatigue, but from weight. There is no ceremony, no grand announcement. But when breakfast is served, a bowl is left untouched. His place at the end of the bench, empty. And somehow, that says everything. James does not say much. He just folds Coleman's blanket, packs his gear, and tucks the poems into an envelope to be sent home. Later, he walks to the edge of the village. Alone. You follow. But at a distance, the breeze picks up, rustling the long grass and scattering a handful of dry leaves down the narrow path. You find a small hill with a view of the fields below. Stone fences stretch in neat lines. Sheep graze quietly in the distance. And beyond them, just trees and sky. James sits there, his helmet resting beside him, hands folded. It could have been any of us, he says softly. You nod, not out of fear, out of truth. The war is not waiting anymore. It is here, and it does not always knock before entering. You return to camp before sunset. The fire is lit, letters are written, boots polished. Routine continues, because it must. But the silence between tasks feels deeper. The scrape of tin on mess trays, the click of a zippered pouch, the way some men pause for just a second before folding their blankets. The things you do not say begin to matter more than the ones you do. That night, you lie awake, not restless, just listening. To the creak of canvas, to the faint sigh of wind slipping under the tent flap, to your own heartbeat, steady but aware. You whisper a quiet thank you to Coleman, to the sky, to the stillness. And then, slowly, you close your eyes. You have seen your first loss. You have felt the absence. And still, you remain. This is a soldier's path. Hard, quiet, brave and small. Invisible ways. And tonight, you honor that by sleeping with peace in your heart. The morning sun breaks gently through mist. It glows over rooftops, touches the tops of stone fences, and warms the wooden steps outside the chapel, where the mailbags are sorted once again. Today feels quiet, but not the heavy quiet of loss, the soft kind, the kind that hums just beneath the surface, like the waiting pause before music starts. You sit on a bench near the flagpole, helmet beside you, not expecting anything in particular, and then the sergeant walks by, a bundle of envelopes in hand, and in the middle, creased gently, and tied with red string, your name. You take it slowly. The handwriting is not your mother's. It is rounder, larger letters written carefully, as if each one mattered too much to rush. The return address, your younger cousin, Lily, just 8 years old. Inside are two things, a short note and a folded piece of lined paper covered in crayon drawings. The letter reads, "Hi, Mommy, said I could write to you all by myself. We had snow last week. I made a snow angel. I hope you have soup and socks. You are my favorite cousin. Come home soon. I will make you a cake." Lily, age 8, you read it twice, then unfold the picture. It is a house with a chimney, a tree with apples, a person holding a flag with a big smile, and stars all around. You do not know why, but your eyes sting just a little. You fold the paper carefully and place it in your breast pocket, right next to your heart. Later, you sit beneath the chapel window, the stone warm from the morning sun. James joins you without a word, peeling an orange he traded from the cook. You show him the picture. He smiles. "Better art than I've ever made," he says. You both laugh quietly, gently, like the sound of shoes on soft ground. Throughout the day, you keep reaching for the paper, not to reread it, just to feel its presence, its weight, its color. In a world of gray dot, you carry it through drills, through cleaning, through your watch shift. And when someone asks why you are smiling, you just say, "Family," and they nod, because they understand. That night, before lights out, you write back. You thank her for the drawing. You say the snow sounds nice. You say your boots are dry, and you do get soup sometimes. You promise her cake when you're home, and then, just before sealing the envelope, you draw your own picture. Stick figures, a tent, a big smiling sun, and a tiny apple tree off to the side. Not perfect, but enough. You fall asleep with your cousin's letter beneath your pillow. The camp fades around you. Your breath deepens, and in your dreams, you walk beside her, through snow that never melts, toward a kitchen filled with the smell of cinnamon, and voices that love you. War continues. But so does memory, and love, and small hands that write big words like hope and soup and cake. And tonight, you rest. There are no orders today. No marching, no firing drills, no maps to study, or trenches to dig. Just silence, not the ominous kind, not the kind that makes your shoulders tighten, or your fingers wrap too tightly around your rifle. This silence is gentle, a gift. The war has paused, if only for a moment. The village is quieter than usual. Children are back in school. The baker's chimney exhales soft curls of smoke. A sheep bleats from somewhere behind a stone wall, then falls quiet again. You walk slowly with James along a dirt road lined with fading autumn leaves. Your boots kick up small clouds of dust with every step. Neither of you speaks. You do not need to. It is enough just to walk. Back at camp, someone has brought out a harmonica. Its notes float softly through the air, tentative at first, then fuller. Like the song remembers itself, note by note. You sit on a low stone wall, helmet beside you, rifle still closed, but for the first time in days, it does not feel heavy. You close your eyes. The sun is warm on your face. You hear the tune bend and sigh, a lullaby for the weary. After lunch, canned beans, dry bread, and a slice of something sweet. You and a few others gather near the chapel steps. Someone has a pack of cards. A quiet game begins. No gambling, just movement, just focus. Laughter comes in short bursts. Not the loud kind, the tired, grateful kind, like a blanket being pulled over cold feet. Later, James pulls out a book he has read twice already. He reads aloud, voice soft and steady, while a few of you sit in a circle on crates and rucksacks. It is not about war. It is about a fisherman and the sea. The rhythm of the words is almost like prayer, and when he stops, no one speaks for a long time. Just the sound of wind through the trees, and a bird calling once from somewhere unseen. You spend the afternoon cleaning your gear, slowly, methodically, not because it needs it urgently, but because the act itself is calming. You polish the buttons on your coat, you refold your socks, you oil your rifle until it gleams. Control in the little things, peace in the routine. This is how you keep your hands moving when your mind is tired of holding weight. Before sunset, you walk down to the river alone, same stream where you once washed the mud from your face after a long march. Today, the water is still. A heron stands knee-deep, unbothered by your presence. You sit on the bank, let your boots rest in the soft grass, and breathe in, out. You think of Coleman, of Lily's letter, of the marigolds your mother wrote about, and for a moment you wonder what day it is. But then decide it does not matter. Here, now, you are safe. You return to camp just as the first stars appear. The harmonica has returned, this time playing a hymn so quiet you almost miss it. You fall asleep early, without thinking too hard about it. Your dreams are not of battle, not of marching, not even of home. Just wind in the trees, pages turning, a bird taking flight. Even in war, there are moments when the world forgets to be loud, and in that pause, you remember who you are. And tonight, you rest. The morning begins with orders, not shouted, but firm. We move east. Town's been cleared, mostly. You'll see the damage. Your pack is already waiting. Tight straps, rations tucked inside, your rifle across your back. The quiet between battles has ended. It is time to move forward. The trucks rumble slowly across the countryside, past wheat fields half burned, past fences fallen in on themselves, past stone homes with shattered windows and laundry still hanging in the wind, as if waiting for families who will never return. No one speaks on the ride. Even James is silent. There is nothing to say that would not feel too loud. By midday, you arrive. The town, once cobbled and quaint, is now a skeleton of itself. Roofs torn open, chimneys crumbled, walls leaning like old men in the wind. A church bell lies broken in the square, half buried in dust, its curve catching the sunlight like a sleeping moon. You step down from the truck, and your boots crunch over glass, shell casings, and the pages of a book blown open to a poem no one finished reading. Your orders are simple. Search every building. Clear, secure, report. But the work is not. You move slowly through what remains of homes. One room has a child's toy, burned at the edges. Another holds a piano, still intact, one key pressed down by rubble, playing a single note over and over with every gust of wind. It is haunting, and somehow beautiful. You and James clear a bakery where flour still coats the floor like fresh snow. You see handprints on the back wall, too small to be soldiers. Perhaps a family hid here once. Perhaps not long ago. You say nothing. Just tighten your grip and move on. In what remains of the town square, there is a fountain, dry now, with a statue of an angel missing one wing. You sit beside it briefly during your break, helmet off, canteen to your lips. James speaks at last. They lived here, he says, softly, and you nod, because the ghost of life still clings to everything, even in the ruin. Later, you help carry a broken door from one collapsed building, only to find beneath it a stack of photos, black and white, faces caught, mid-laugh, arms around shoulders, a wedding day, a new baby. You do not know these people, but your heart recognizes them. You place the photos in a tin and leave them on the mantle that still stands. It feels like the right thing to do. As the sun begins to set, the sky turns rose and ash. The sergeant calls for final sweep. No sign of enemy presence, no sign of anyone at all. You return to the church, half its roof gone, but the pews still standing. Your squad sets up camp inside, bedrolls between cracked pillars, lanterns flickering where candles once burned. That night, you sit in a pew and take out Lily's letter. Her crayon drawing feels like it came from another lifetime. You breathe in and out, and then you say a name under your breath, Coleman, just once. So, it does not disappear. You fall asleep to the sound of distant wind whistling through broken windows, not afraid, not quite at peace, but present. And that is enough. You are here, bearing witness, still standing, and tonight, you rest. Asterisk, the first snow falls quietly, not in a storm, but in slow, delicate flakes that melt on your coat and vanish on your skin before you even feel their weight. But the cold that follows does not vanish. It creeps into your bones, slips beneath your collar, settles between your ribs and stays. Winter has arrived, and with it, a new mission. The front is shifting, your sergeant says. We push through the forest and hold the ridge. Supplies will follow. Expect resistance. Promises, no dates, just a ridge, a cold march, and whatever waits beyond the tree line. You shoulder your gear, wool scarf, extra socks, a pair of gloves worn thin at the fingertips. You are ready, or at least as ready as you can be. The forest is not silent, not truly. You hear boots crunching snow, the soft snap of frozen twigs, your own breath rising like smoke with each exhale. And underneath it all, the groan of distant trees bending beneath the wind. Your squad moves in tight formation. No jokes, no stories. Just focus. And cold. By midday, the snow deepens. Your steps become heavier. Your fingers stiff, but you keep walking because stopping means freezing, and freezing means falling behind. And falling behind is not an option. At night, you dig a shallow hole in the snow and place your bedroll atop branches to stay off the frozen earth. James sits beside you, his hands cupped around a tin mug, half filled with something warm and bitter. I used to love winter, he says, his voice a low hum in the dark. You say nothing, only pass him your gloves. Your hands are numb, but you know his are worse, and kindness, in these moments, is worth more than comfort. The next day, you come. Across a farmhouse, abandoned, windows shattered, roof sagging under the weight of snow. But the walls are strong, and the chimney still draws smoke when someone lights a fire. Your squad rests inside for the night. It is the first warmth you have felt in days. You dry your socks near the hearth, peel off your coat, rub your hands together until the feeling returns in short bursts of pins and needles. You sit on the floor, back against the wood stove, watching the flames flicker. And in that glow, you see something surprising. A cat. Thin, gray, quiet. It slinks out from under the table and curls beside your foot without fear. You do not pet it. You do not speak. You simply sit and share the heat. The next morning, you leave before sunrise. The sky is pale blue. The snow crunching underfoot. Each step forward, both a battle and a promise. You pass frozen streams, trees bare and black, and distant hills where smoke curls skyward from unseen fires. You wonder who is over that ridge, friend, foe. But you do not stop walking. You keep your eyes forward. That night, as you dig another shallow hole into the hard earth, your fingers bleeding slightly from frost-cracked skin, you realize something. You are stronger now. Not because you feel brave. Not because you feel ready, but because you keep moving. Even when everything inside and around you says stop, you lie in your roll, wrapped tight. The wind whistles across the snowdrifts. You dream of firelight, of warm bread, of Lily's picture, now carefully tucked in a waterproof pouch against your chest. You are cold, exhausted, far from home, but you are alive and moving. And here and tonight, you rest. Asterisk, the snow is still falling when it happens. Light, powdery flakes innocent on the surface. You and your squad have just crossed a narrow road, carved between two ridges. The wind is quiet. Birdsong echoes faintly, a sound so normal, so out of place, and then crack, a rifle shot. Sharp, sudden, far too close. You drop instantly, belly to earth, your fingers already on your rifle. Another shot, then a burst of automatic fire, bullets zipping through trees, snapping branches, thudding into snow. Your heart thunders, not in panic, but in pure, hot instinct. James dives beside you, his shoulder slamming into the trunk of a tree. You hear his voice low, controlled. They've got the ridge. Right flank, high ground. The sergeant shouts orders. Return fire. Stay low. Move on my signal. You peek out briefly, just long enough to see shadows moving among the trees above. They are dug in, waiting. This was no accident. This was a trap. You press your cheek to the cold earth. Steady your breathing and raise your rifle. You fire once, not wild, not desperate, focused, intentional. A figure jerks back into cover. The air fills with thunder, gunfire from both sides. Snow kicked up in white plumes, shouts and commands ringing across the trees. You crawl forward, using fallen logs as cover. Every movement feels like swimming through ice. But you do not stop. James moves with you. Watching, covering, firing, you reach the base of a small outcrop. If you can climb it, you might flank them, might change the rhythm of this ambush. The sergeant waves you on. Go now. We'll cover. The climb is brutal. Snow gives way beneath your boots. Your gloves tear on sharp rocks. Each step sends spikes of pain through your calves, but you reach the top. You find a path behind their line. You hold your breath. Move low, rifle raised, then you see them. 3 soldiers crouched behind cover, focused on your squad below. You do not think. You act. The shots are over in seconds. Then silence. Not full silence. Your ears still ring. Your heart still pounds. But something shifts. The enemy fire falters. Your squad regroups. The ambush cracks. And the forest breathes again. Afterward, you sit in the snow, your back against a tree, rifle across your lap. Your gloves are soaked. Your arms shake. Not from fear, from release. You made it. James finds you there, kneeling in the snow with a canteen. He hands it to you, sits beside you, says nothing. There is nothing to say. Not right now, just breath and heartbeats and snow. You return to camp late, feet soaked, body aching. But you are whole, and so are your brothers. And tonight, there are no drills, no briefings, only firelight and quiet voices, and soup passed around in tin cups. You lie down near the hearth, lilies drawing beside your chest, James snoring softly a few feet away. Outside, the snow keeps falling. Inside, you sleep, because today, you survived, and tonight, you rest. It happens during a patrol of the kind you have done a dozen times before. A long march through quiet woods. Snow melting just enough to make each step squelch beneath your boots. You are tired, but alert. Trained now to scan every shadow, every rise, every broken branch, and then you hear it. A sound behind the trees. Not an animal, not wind, breath, human breath. You and James sweep left. The rest of the unit fans out in silence. No gunfire, no shouting. You move slowly, rifles up, hearts steady. And there, beneath a broken pine, you find him. Not more than 18, a German soldier, alone, wounded. His rifle is broken. One leg twisted beneath him, blood seeping through the torn gray of his coat. He sees you. His eyes widen, not in anger, but in fear. Not a monster. Just a boy, like you. For a moment, no one moves. You could raise your rifle, end it here, but you do not. Instead, you kneel beside him. James covers you. The boy does not speak. You do not need him to. You reach for your field kit. Your hands move gently, not with hatred, not with force, but with the same care you would offer to a brother with a broken ankle or a split lip. You clean the wound, wrap the leg, offer him water. He drinks, hands shaking. Then, in halting English, thank you. You nod, and for a few seconds, you both simply breathe. War has stopped, right here, between you. For just a moment, your squad calls it in. The prisoner will be evacuated, taken behind the line, treated, questioned. He will live. You do not know what will happen after that. You do not ask. You do not ask. You know is you did not become what the war expected. Not today. Back at camp, James places two steaming mugs on a crate between you. You sit beside the fire, silent, both staring at the flames. He breaks the quiet first. You did good. You nod, then sip the tea. It is bitter, but warm, and it steadies something that has been shaken in you for days. Later that night, you pull out your notebook and write down what happened. Not the strategy, not the formation, not even the name. Just this. Today, I saw a face I was told to fear, and I saw pain and fear and humanity. You close the book and tuck it beside your pillow. You lie back, eyes on the tent ceiling. The fire crackles. Outside, wind moves gently through pine, and sleep arrives not with exhaustion, but with peace, because today, you chose something different, and tonight, you rest. The mail arrives during breakfast. A dull gray morning, soft rain tapping on canvas, steam rising from mess tins. The low murmur of soldiers half awake and halfway elsewhere in thought. You are not expecting anything, but the sergeant stops beside your table, a small envelope in hand, your name in delicate script, your mother's writing. You wipe your hands and take it slowly, as though it might crumble in your fingers. The others keep talking, chewing, passing, canteens and jokes. But for you, the tent fades. It is only you and her words. You open it carefully. 2 pages, folded neatly, pressed flat, as though she hoped the weight of love would hold them safe across an ocean. You begin to read. My dearest, we heard on the radio that the fighting has worsened, and I must admit, each morning I open the paper with trembling hands. But today, I am trying something different. I am writing to you as if you are already home. Your eyes soften. The noise around you fades further still. She writes of the marigolds, how they refused to bloom until late October. But once they came, they did not stop. She says Lily drew a picture of you and a dragon and declared it would keep you safe. She says she found your father standing on the porch at sunset last week, just looking west. Then her words shift, slower now. I must also share some difficult news. Your Uncle Henry passed last Thursday, in his sleep, peaceful, no pain. You stop reading. Your thumb rests gently between the lines. You remember Uncle Henry as the man who gave you your first compass, who let you drink coffee when no one else would, who laughed with his whole chest and sang badly but boldly at every holiday meal. He is gone. Now, you breathe. In, out. You continue reading. He always asked about you. Said you would come home with stories and courage we could all borrow for a while. I know you cannot mourn him here, but if you close your eyes, perhaps you will feel what we did. The wind shifting, the trees swaying, the sense that something kind had moved on. You do close your eyes, and for a moment, you do feel it, a warmth, a sadness, and something gentle passing by. The letter ends, as it always does. Come home when you can, but not a second sooner. We are proud. We are waiting. We are sending love in every falling leaf, every candle, every dream. You fold the letter with hands that tremble a little and tuck it beside your heart. James notices your silence. He does not ask. He just nudges a mug toward you. Filled with strong tea, you sip it, bitter but grounding. That night, you sit by the fire and write back. You tell her about the snow, about the bakery you passed, about the boy you spared, and how his eyes reminded you of someone you used to know in school. You tell her you miss Uncle Henry, but that you felt him in the wind today. And you thank her for writing, for marigolds, for memory. You sleep soundly, not because the world is soft, but because, for a moment, you remembered you are still loved, still known, still part of something beyond this war. And tonight, you rest. You rise before the sun. The cold clings to your coat like a second skin. The snow beneath your boots has turned to ice in some places, slush in others. Your legs already ache, and the day has not yet begun. But orders are clear. We move east, 40 miles, 3 days, no vehicles. Travel light, The path ahead winds through broken villages, dense pine forests, and open fields too wide to feel safe. You tighten your pack, check your rifle, and take the first step. The column stretches long behind you, men in silence, steam rising from mouths and backs as they walk into the rising light. Some hum quietly, some chew gum, or hold letters in gloved hands, folded and unfolded again. With every mile, James walks beside you. His gait is slower than usual. A limp has begun to settle into his right leg. Frostbite, maybe, or just exhaustion. But he says nothing. And neither do you. By midday, you stop near the remains of a farmhouse. No roof, 3 walls, but a good windbreak. The sergeant allows a short rest. You sit on your pack, sip from your canteen, chew hard bread until it softens just enough to swallow. James lies on his back, watching clouds move. One looks like a cat, he says. You squint upward. It looks like nothing. But you nod anyway. Because imagination is a kind of survival. The second leg of the day is harder. The terrain grows rough. Hills rise slowly at first, then steepen, and the mud beneath the snow pulls at your boots with every step. Blisters begin to form, muscles burn, but you keep going, because everyone else is going. And that's how you survive a march. Together, even in silence. You reach the top of the ridge just as the sun begins to set below you. A wide field stretches toward the tree line. Smoke curls from the chimneys of a distant village, still standing, still whole. The sergeant lowers his binoculars and nods. We camp here. Tents go up quickly. Fires are lit. Rations are distributed. It feels routine now, even comforting. You sit by the fire, boots off, socks steaming in the heat. James rubs his leg and finally says, "It's worse than I thought." You glance at the swelling. "I'll help you wrap it." No questions, no pride. Just care, because that's how you both make it through. The stars come out one by one, crisp and clear above the trees. You write in your notebook, not a letter, just thoughts. The hardest part isn't the walking. It's remembering not to forget who you were before this. You close the book, slide it under your pack, and lie down. The march continues, the next morning, and the next dot. Each step is heavier. Each rest, more precious. You see signs of war in the smallest things. A broken fence, a child's shoe, a house missing only one wall, with teacups still on the table. It is like time tried to keep going, even after the world stopped at the end of the third day. You reach the edge of the new sector. New orders await. So do new maps, new trenches, new risks. But for now, you have completed the march. Together, breathless. But hold. You lie down in your bedroll on ground still frozen beneath you, and close your eyes. Because no matter how far you march, how much your feet bleed, or how loud the past becomes the night, you rest. It begins just before dawn. A red hue creeps into the sky, not from the sun, but from something burning beyond the trees. Your captain leans over the map, his finger tracing the curve of a hill. This is Firelight Ridge. Enemy units dug in. Bunkers, artillery. We take it before sundown, or we don't take it at all. No one speaks. Not because they are afraid, but because they understand what this means. You shoulder your rifle, tighten your helmet strap, pat James on the back, not with words, but with weight. The kind that says, "I'm with you." Whatever happens, the march to the ridge is silent. Not even the birds call this morning. As you climb the low slope toward the tree line, your boots grow heavy with frost. Muddy patches cling to every step, and the snow here feels stained, as though it remembers what is coming. And then artillery, a sharp crack in the air. The scream of metal overhead. You hit the ground. The earth trembles. Snow bursts upward, like powdered ash. The first shell lands just 20 feet ahead. Smoke, dirt, silence, and then chaos. Move, left flank, go. You scramble, heart racing, eyes stinging with sweat and smoke. James is ahead of you, ducking behind a stump, firing upward toward bunkers half hidden in trees. You move beside him, press your back to a tree trunk, and return. Fire. Not aimless, not wild. You count every round. Feel the recoil. Smell the metal. Time vanishes. Everything becomes instinct. Crawl. Fire. Move. Duck. A voice yells to your left. Another soldier stumbles. James pulls him behind cover without thinking. A bullet tears through your coat sleeve. You barely feel it. Adrenaline wraps around your body like armor. Then a chance. A small break in their line. Smoke covers the slope. You and 3 others sprint forward, up the side, through broken brush, toward the bunker's mouth. A grenade, a flash, then silence. When your ears stop ringing, you realize you have reached the top. You raise the signal flare. Red light arcs over the field. Your unit surges forward, and Firelight Ridge is taken. Not easily, not without pain, but taken. Afterward, you sit on the ridge beside James, legs stretched out before you, hands still trembling. Below, your unit wounded are carried gently on stretchers. Names are whispered. Some answered, some not. The wind picks up. Ash rises like ghostly petals, dancing across the scorched earth. James hands you a cigarette. You do not smoke, but you hold it, warm between your fingers. You both stare out at the sky, deep orange now, as the real sun begins to set. That was it, James says. The worst one. You do not answer. But inside, you feel it too. A line was crossed today, a weight added that will never fully lift. That night, you sit by a small fire atop the ridge you bled for. Your coat is torn, your boots damp, your body sore, but you are alive, and in your hand, still folded, is Lily's crayon picture. You smooth its edges. Look at the smile drawn in green, and feel something soften inside the storm of memory. Sleep comes slowly, not peaceful, not pure, but sleep nonetheless. And tonight, you rest. You are still on Firelight Ridge, but the fighting has moved on. New orders call for regrouping, rest, repair. For the first time in what feels like weeks, you are not preparing to move. You are not scanning the horizon for shadows or silhouettes. Instead, you sit back against a cold stone wall, still standing at the ridge's peak, and take stock, not of weapons, not of wounds, but of what you carry. Your pack is lighter than it was when you began this journey, and heavier, too, but not from gear, from stories, from ghosts, from memories that rattle softly like loose buttons in your pocket. You open the flap and begin to take them out. First, Lily's picture, folded 100 times, colors faded, edges soft, but still smiling. The green crayon sun, the crooked tree. The words, "I will make you a cake," written in bright, happy strokes. You run your thumb across it, still here, still holding on. Then, your notebook. Its cover is stained, its pages warped from damp nights, but inside, your thoughts. Fragments of yourself, moments too small to remember on their own, but too precious to lose. You flip to a page from the Winter March. I have learned that silence is not the absence of sound. It is the weight of things unspoken. You close the book, place it beside. You. Still here, still carrying. Next, a harmonica, not yours, left behind by another soldier whose name is no longer spoken, but whose music still lingers in the corners of your dreams. You do not play, but sometimes you hold it in your hand, feel its shape, and remember the song he used to hum before sleep. You press it to your lips now. Breathe out. No melody, just air, but the shape of a memory. Still here. You look around. James is near the fire, talking softly with 2 others. His limp is more pronounced today, but he laughs all the same, not loudly, but enough. You remember when he first joined your squad, how he carried a photo of a girl in a plastic sleeve, and always wrote in pencil so the letters would not smear if they got wet. He still has the photo, still carries it in the inner pocket of his coat, just like you carry Lily's drawing. Different faces, same reason. Then there is the compass, a gift from your uncle, the one who passed weeks ago, whose words still echo in your letters from home. The brass is worn, the needle sometimes sticks, but it still points north. You used it once when your map tore in the rain, but mostly You keep it because it reminds you that no matter how lost you feel, there is always a way forward. Still here, still pointing. There are other things. A button from your first uniform, a shell casing from the ridge, a pencil stub, a piece of ribbon from a care package tied around your canteen. Each one, small, ordinary, but not meaningless. Because in war, what you carry becomes who you are. Not just your tools, but your anchors, your memories, your reminders that you were someone before this started and will be someone after. That night, you place each item back carefully, tucked into corners, wrapped in cloth, guarded like treasure. Then you sit by the fire, hands outstretched, face lit in flickers, and you speak not to anyone in particular, but to the quiet itself. Still here, you say, still carrying. And somewhere, beneath, stars you cannot name, the world feels just a little less heavy. You lie down, blanket tight, pack beside you. And tonight, you rest. Asterisk, the orders are simple. The outcome is not. There's a bridge east of Rimini, stone, narrow. Enemies holding the far side. We need it intact. You're going in at dawn. You fold the map. The red mark over the bridge is small. A thin line across a river. But lines like this decide everything. Hold the bridge. Supplies move. Lose it. The front stalls. Men die. You understand now how much weight small things can carry. Like bridges, like choices. The morning is fog-choked. The river breathes mist as if exhaling worry into the sky. You move silently with 5 others. James among them. His limp is slower now, but he would not stay behind. You all crawl close through frozen brush to the edge of the riverbank, and there rising from the mist is the bridge, cracked, weather-worn, lined with low stone rails and the distant silhouettes of 2 enemy guards moving slowly, rifles across shoulders. Your sergeant whispers the plan. We take the right flank, quiet, no shots unless fired upon. We rush the center, break through fast. If they blow the bridge, we all go in with it. You nod. So does James. Everyone understands. You wait for the signal. A bird call. High, then low. It comes. You move. The first sprint is fast. Boots barely touch frost-slick stones. The guards turn to slow. One drops, the other flees across the bridge. Shots crack. He falls. But then, a louder sound. A click. Not from your rifles. Not from a shout. From beneath the bridge. Explosives. Your squad rushes forward. James yells. The charges. Under the stone. You throw your pack down. Drop to your stomach. Slide toward the edge. And there, a wire, tangled under the first arch. Small bundles of black, wrapped in cloth. Just above the WATERLINE. You reach for your pliers. And the world narrows to this moment. You cut one wire, then another. Each click feels like it echoes down your spine. Your hands are steady. Your breath is not. You reach the last one, and pause. The mist clears for a second. You see your own reflection in the river below. Mud-streaked eyes wide, jaw clenched. You barely recognize yourself. But you finish the job. The last wire drops. The bridge holds. Your squad secures the other side. No further resistance, but your body shakes as you stand. James helps you up. His eyes say what words cannot. You just saved us. You nod, not out of pride, out of disbelief. The rest of the day is spent fortifying the position, digging, waiting, watching the road for enemy movement that never comes. By dusk, you are allowed rest. You sit on the far side of the bridge, legs dangling over the edge, watching the slow river below. A few birds land nearby, unbothered, unaware. You take Lily's drawing from your pocket, look at the crayon sun and the smiling stick figure with green boots. Still here, still smiling. James joins you. We keep crossing things, don't we? You nod. Bridges, battles, moments that split what was from what comes next. You both sit in silence until the stars arrive, like tiny candles lit across the sky. You lie back on your roll, helmet beside you, hands tucked into your coat, and you wonder how many more bridges wait ahead. But for now, this one held. And tonight, you rest. Asterisk, it is a quiet evening at the outpost. No shelling, no alerts. Just the soft crackle of the fire and the distant rustle of wind through leafless trees. You sit on an overturned crate, boots off, feet sore and steaming beside the flames. Someone passes a pot of lukewarm stew. James hums softly under his breath, scribbling in his journal. Another soldier sharpens a knife just for something to do. And you hold a blank page. You have written many letters. Some sent, some lost, some buried deep in your pack. Never finished. But tonight, you hold the kind of letter that weighs more than it should. The kind that begins and ends without ever being mailed. You take out your pencil and begin. Dear Father, I never got to say goodbye. Not properly. Not with the kind of words a son is supposed to use when stepping into war. You pause. The fire pops, and the log shifts in the coals. Ash drifts upward like moths. You continue. I remember the day you showed me how to shoot out back, the way you placed your hand on mine, said aim is everything. Don't rush it. I never told you, but that lesson saved me more than once out here. Not just with the rifle, but with decisions, with judgment, with how to carry myself even when fear chews through my ribs. The words begin to flow now. Not loud, not dramatic, but steady like a stream running quietly through memory. You write about the little things. How you still wear his watch even though it stopped ticking weeks ago. How you polish your boots because he always said a soldier's boots speak louder than medals. You write not because you expect to send it, but because some parts of you will disappear if they are never named. Across the fire, James finishes a letter of his own. He folds it, tucks it into an envelope already smudged with dirt. Never know if they get there, he says, shrugging. But I like pretending they do. You nod and glance down at your page. It is already half full. You keep going. There was a moment last week when we crossed that broken town. A shop window still had your favorite tobacco. The tin was dented, but I almost grabbed it just to feel like you were nearby. Your pencil moves slower now. Some of the guys talk about what they'll do when they get back. I used to do that too, but lately, I find myself wondering who I'll be if I do. You stop, not because the thought is finished, but because some truths do not fit on paper. You fold the letter, seal it with a small strip of wax someone borrowed from a candle stub. Then you slide it inside your coat, near your chest. No address, no stamp. Just kept. Safe. Later. You lie down under a patchwork sky, a mix of clouds and stars, some blinking, some still. You think about the other letters you never sent. The one to your teacher after you read his favorite book. The one to the girl you almost proposed to before you left town. The one to yourself. The boy you were before the uniform. War teaches you many things. Some are loud, explosive, sharp, but others, they whispered like this. Sometimes the most important words are the ones we carry quietly. Never said, never sent, but always held close. And tonight, you rest. It is not on any map, not on the briefing charts, not in the captain's orders, but it appears just the same after a long night march and a wrong turn through a frozen valley. A town, small, silent, tucked between two hills like it had been folded there, and forgotten by the world. No signs, no markings, no people, just stone houses, intact but empty. Lanterns still hanging on hooks beside doorways. Curtains swaying in broken windows like ghosts still peek out. You and James are the first to see it. You stop on the ridge above. No tracks, no smoke. But the place looks alive. Somehow, you descend slowly, carefully. Rifles low but ready. Each bootstep crunches over snow that has not been disturbed in days or weeks or longer. The first house smells like rosemary. Dried herbs still hang in the doorway. A kettle sits on a cold stove, lid askew. A doll lies in a cradle carved by hand, its painted eyes staring up at a ceiling cracked by time and cold. There is no damage from war, no blood, no signs of struggle, just absence. Your squad fans out Each soldier drawn into a house, a room, a moment that feels like walking through someone else's memory. James finds a music box. Still works. He winds it. A soft tune spills out, delicate, lilting, haunting. You close your eyes, and for a moment, you are not in war. You are in someone's home, someone's life, someone who left but meant to return. You find yourself in a small chapel. The door creaks softly. Inside, the air smells of dust and cedar. A Bible lies open on the pulpit, its pages frozen stiff. A single candle has melted down completely, its wax spread like a white river across the altar. You sit in the back pew, let the quiet settle over your shoulders. Like a blanket outside, James sits on a doorstep, chewing rations. He offers you some. You shake your head. You look up at the clock tower. It reads for 12. It has not moved. It may never again. Where did they go? You ask. James shrugs. Maybe they left early in the war. Maybe they heard what was coming and just faded out. You nod. It feels like truth, or close enough. You and the others stay the night. The captain agrees. The village offers shelter from the cold, from the march, from everything. You pick a room in a small house with blue shutters. There is a feather mattress, a knitted blanket, a photograph on the mantel of a family smiling beside a horse. You stare at it for a long time, wondering where they are now, if they remember this place, if they survived. You light a candle, not because you need it, but because something in this town deserves warmth again. You sit on the edge of the bed and whisper quietly to no one. We see you. We remember you. Then you lie down. Pull the blanket over your chest and let your body sink. The wind outside moves softly. The stars peek through the shutters. And for once, in this town with no name, you feel like a guest in peace instead of war. And tonight, you rest. The cold came early that year. Earlier than even the locals expected. By mid-December, the rivers froze at their edges. Boots cracked in the morning frost, and breath fogged before lips could part. Then came the orders. Prepare for the counterattack. We move before dawn. This will be the last push, they called it an offensive. But to you, it felt like survival. You dress in layers, too many, and you sweat. A danger in this weather. Too few, and you freeze. You find the balance between warmth and weight. Then tighten the scarf Lily's mother sent last autumn. You press it to your face for a moment. Smells like wool, faintly like home. Then you shoulder your gear and step into the dark. Snow falls, in a hush. Not violent, not even urgent, just constant, like the war itself. Soft but unrelenting. Your squad trudges east through tree-lined trails. Footsteps muffled, voices kept low. James walks beside you, his limp quieter now, but present a rhythm you know like your own heartbeat. Ahead lies the ridge, the stronghold, the line that must be broken before the year ends. The first shots crack as the sky turns gray, not fully light, not fully night, a liminal time, a liminal battle. Your hands are already numb as you drop to the snow. Return fire, scan left, move right. Bullets whiz past, kicking up sprays of frozen dirt. A shell lands somewhere far. Its sound dulled by snow but deep enough to shake your ribs. You do not speak. You do not blink. You just move. The climb to the enemy line feels like dragging your soul uphill. Every step takes energy you did not know you still had. You crawl. You duck. You fire. Your fingers lose feeling. You cannot tell if you are pulling the trigger or if your hand simply clenches from instinct. Then you see him, a German soldier, no older than yourself, peering over a collapsed tree. His face is pale, his helmet slightly crooked. You both freeze. Then he lifts his rifle. You do not have time to raise yours, but James does. One shot, then silence. Afterward, you both sit behind cover, breath heaving, hearts pounding. You look at James. He nods. You nod back. Nothing more is needed, because in war, some thank yous must be spoken without words. By noon, the ridge is taken. You barely remember the last charge. Just flashes, shouts, the metallic taste of fear and snow melting on your tongue. Now, you crouch in a half-frozen foxhole, rifle resting across your lap, steam rising from your soaked coat. Your squad is battered, but alive. You made it. A medic moves between soldiers, patching wounds with red-stained bandages. He offers you water. You nod, drink, and finally you breathe. Not a full breath, but the first one that does not feel borrowed. That night, the stars return, brighter than you remember. The cold is sharp, but the fire glows strong. Someone sings softly, a lullaby. Maybe from the mountains. Maybe from a childhood none of you speak of anymore. You do not sing, but you listen. You wrap lilies, scarf a little tighter, and lie down in your roll. And tonight, though your boots are wet, your shoulder bruised, your chest aching, you rest because the ridge is behind you, and your breath, however shallow, still rises. It begins with a whisper, passed from soldier to soldier, camp to camp, as if saying, it too loudly might scare it away. There's talk of surrender, an armistice, maybe. War might be ending. You do not believe it, not at first. You have heard stories before, of false hope, of broken treaties, of tricks hidden in white flags. But this whisper feels different. It is gentler, more persistent, like spring beneath frost. The commander gathers you at sunrise. His voice is firm, but his eyes are not as tired as they were yesterday. We hold position, no advance, but stay alert. Orders from the top, talks are happening. He does not say the word, but you feel it, even unspoken. Peace, the morning, passes without gunfire. No patrols, no new maps, no sudden alarms, just stillness. You and James sit on a log beside the last fire you built together. He chews on jerky, wincing with each bite. My jaw's tired of this stuff, he mutters. You smile, not wide, but real. You can eat whatever you want back home. James looks at the horizon, then back to you. Do you really think we're going home? You do not answer, because yes and no, and maybe, because the body can leave the war. But the war sometimes it packs itself into your rucksack and rides along for years. But you still say, yes, I think so, and you mean it, even if only for today. Later, a courier arrives. His coat is soaked, his face flushed from wind and distance. He carries nothing but a folded paper. He hands it to the captain. The captain reads. His face does not change, but when he looks up, ceasefire at midnight. The whisper becomes real. The news spreads like fire. Some cheer, some laugh, some fall silent. You sit down, right where you are, mid-stride, mid-thought. You remove your helmet, feel the cold air, touch your forehead, and breathe. You write a letter that afternoon. It begins like this. They said the war might end tonight. I do not know how to feel, but I do know I want to come home whole. Not just alive. You fold the paper, but do not seal it yet. You wait, just in case. Because peace is not real until the silence lasts. Midnight nears. The camp grows quiet. No one sleeps. Not yet. They count the minutes aloud. Some watch the stars. Some smoke. Some pray. You sit beside James. Your watch ticks softly, each second a heartbeat. And then, at midnight, nothing. No shots, no flares, no orders, just wind and breath and silence. Someone laughs, soft, disbelieving, then a cheer, then a whistle, then tears. You do not join them at first. You sit still, staring at the trees. Because peace is louder in its silence than war ever was in its thunder. Then James nudges you, hands you a canteen, raises his in a mock toast. To getting out of this alive. You clink canteens. Water spills on your glove. You do not care. You smile again. Wider this time. Later, you walk a few paces from the fire and look at the sky. The stars are sharp. The air still. You whisper, it's over. To no one. To everyone. To yourself. And tonight, with no battle waiting, no ridge to climb, no wire to cut you rest. Truly. The war is over, but you are still here, in uniform, in boots stiff with old mud, in a camp that echoes with the sounds of waiting, because going home is not as simple as laying down your rifle. It is a process, a winding path, a long road carved with more questions than answers. That the first train leaves at dawn, not for home, but for the coast. The men cheer, some cry, some stare out windows and say nothing at all. You sit near the back, next to James, your packs between your knees. The train lurches forward, steel screeches, steam sighs dot, and just like that, you move outside the window. Europe passes by in soft, gray smudges, villages, trees, fences split by war and mended with wire. You see farmers in the fields again, children near wells, a girl chasing chickens through the mud dot. Life is still happening. That surprises you more than you expected. James hums a tune you half remember. You rest your head against the wall, eyes fluttering shut. The clatter of the tracks becomes a lullaby dot in that rocking rhythm. Memories rise, faces, letters, faces, Phi early, HT, dot not painful, not sweet, just present. The train stops in a town near the docks. You and the others are marched to a station. Officers give instructions. More papers, more waiting, but no orders now. No targets, no battle maps, just a ticket with your name. And a line, destination, home. On the ship, you stand at the rail. Waves stretch out beneath you, rolling soft and steady like breath. James joins you. How long has it been? You do not answer right away. You try to count, not in months, but in memories. How many times did you write a letter? How many fires did you build? How many men did not come back? Too long, you finally say. James nods. At night, you lie in a bunk below deck, the ceiling low, the ship creaking like an old chair. And you wonder, who will you be when you return? Not the same boy who left with polished boots and a brand new rifle. No. Something has shifted. You are quieter now, slower, but also deeper, like the ocean beneath your bunk. The ship docks before sunrise. A fog blankets the harbor. Your boots hit the wooden planks with a hollow thud. Your breath curls in the air like smoke. You see people on the docks, wives, mothers, sisters, sons, holding signs, waving, searching faces. You do not expect anyone, but someone calls your name. It is Lily, taller, but unmistakable, wearing your old jacket with the sleeves rolled up. She runs to you, stops inches away, looks at your eyes like they hold the whole sky, then wraps her arms around you. You do not cry, but your knees nearly give. That night, you sleep in a bed, a real one, with a mattress, sheets, a roof dot, no sirens, no patrol, no cold steel pressed to your spine, just warmth, a window open to crickets, and the sound of someone breathing down the hall. You dream of rivers, of snow, of bridges not blown, of letters never sent, of James waving goodbye from a different platform. You wake up just before dawn. The light is pale, soft, and you whisper, still here. Then close your eyes again. And tonight, you rest, asterisk. The uniform still hangs on your wall. Not in reverence, but in silence. Like a chapter closed, but not forgotten. It smells faintly of smoke, of winter, of memory. Some days, you touch it, just to remind yourself that it was real. You now rise with the sun, not because of orders, but because your body still wakes early. Old habits, deeply carved. You drink coffee on the porch, watching mist lift from the hills. Birds call, leaves rustle. It is all too quiet at first, like a theater after the final act. The neighbors wave, some speak kindly, some avoid your eyes. Some ask what it was like. You never answer the same way twice, because the truth shifts depending on the weather, on the hour, on the dreams you had the night before. You take walks, hands in your coat pockets, boots on gravel roads, not the same ones you walked as a boy, but they feel different now, wider, older, like they waited for a version of you who never quite returned. And yet, they still welcome your steps. Lily sits at the kitchen table, drawing again, a new picture, but with the same crooked sun and green boots. This is you, she says, pointing at a stick figure. You're not holding a gun anymore. You nod and smile. But inside, something tugs. Because while your hands are empty, your heart still carries a weight you cannot yet name. You visit James one Sunday. He lives 2 towns over now, married, healing. His limp is still there, but he walks with a cane carved from a tree near Firelight Ridge. He shows it off with pride. Made it myself, out of memory. You both sit by the river, toss pebbles, say nothing for a while. Because friendship forged in war requires no conversation, just presence. At night, you lie awake sometimes, not out of fear, but reflection. You hear the wind and mistake it for marching. You hear a door creak and think of bunkers, but then you remember. This is your house, this is your bed, this is peace. You begin to write, not just letters, but stories. Pages filled with names of those who never came back. You write them not to forget, but to make sure no one else does. You title one, The Town Without a Name. You send it to the local paper. They print it, people read, and some finally understand. Spring arrives. You plant a garden, tomatoes, onions, lavender. Your hands, once wrapped around a rifle, now turn soil, soft and rich. You feel healing in the roots, in the rain, in the way something can grow again, even after ruin. One night, Lily climbs into your lap, asks you to tell her a story. A real one, she insists. You hesitate, but then begin. There was a soldier who walked a long road, through snow, through fire, through silence, and every step he carried pieces of everyone he loved. She listens, eyes wide, head on your chest. And when she drifts to sleep, you realize the story is not finished, because you are still writing it. You stand by the window. The stars shimmer. The world turns quietly. And tonight, after all you have seen, after all you have lost, and all you have become, you rest.